morning and happy 2020 to everybody. Welcome to everyone's favorite plastic surgery channel show, No Spin Live. Today we have two world famous plastic surgery experts with us, Bruce Van Natta from Indianapolis, Indiana, and Dr. Jason Posner from Boca Raton, Florida. How's the weather down there in Florida, Jason?
It was a little cold. We were like in the 60s today. I don't know. How about you guys? How's Texas?
You know, it's clear, a little cool in the morning, 40 to 50, but no complaints. This is better than usual for us. What's Indiana doing?
Dr. Van Natta, you look like you're growing antlers out of your head.
Well, you know, it's cold. It's cold up here, and you got to stay close to these furry animals, you know.
So when did you start growing the antlers out of your head?
Well, it all began when I started using CBD oil, and I rubbed it in my head, and these things started growing out. I don't know.
So if I grew them, I would look a little taller. I think I'd like that. You can get like 8 inches or more out of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, forget hair transplants. You get both height, you get height and coverage. I mean,
Really? Get it all.
Could you imagine if Dr. Adams had that? He'd be like 9 feet tall.
No, not good for Bill.
And it's got a Viking feel with the hair, you know, and the flow.
I know, it looks good. Maybe we could just get a cap with that, and when we go to our meetings, if you don't like what I have to say, we could headbutt each other.
I like it. I like it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, man. So today we're going to kick it off with our first topic. Made a lot of headlines. Breast augmentation in Denver, Colorado, where a patient was eventually, you know, found to be unresponsive and had some brain damage because she was left unattended in the operating room, guys. Did you guys hear about that story in Indiana, Bruce?
Yeah, we did, and it's sad, Steve. It's just, this is one of those unfortunate things. The vast majority of times when we go into the operating room, things turn out well. People get good outcomes, but it doesn't happen without being careful, and you have to make sure that the people that are not just the surgeon, which obviously it's critical to have a board certified surgeon, but also you've got to make sure that the people assisting, and in this case, it turns out this was, I believe, a nurse anesthetist who had problems before and had another case against them. And it sounds like a case of negligence. So this is where doing your due diligence, asking around, maybe doing a little research on the people that are involved to try to be safe. And it's just very unfortunate. A very young girl having a simple cosmetic augmentation, and now she's brain dead. Very sad.
Jason, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree with Bruce. I mean, look, bad things can happen, and we do our best to minimize the risk of complications. You know, I had clinic today, so patients were asking me, you know, what's the risk of this and what's the risk of that? And usually my answer is, if you're young and healthy, your risk of driving here is more than your risk of anesthesia. You know, but how do we minimize that? As Bruce said, I have a board certified anesthesiologist who does your surgery. And interestingly, my anesthesiologist is a pilot, and he was a pilot before he was a doctor. So, you know, we really run the OR just like you would with an airplane. You have a pre-check, you go through your checklist, you make sure that you have oxygen, the anesthesia machine is working, everyone's there. I mean, you have to go through this list to make sure that things are good. And one of the things is your nurse anesthetist does not leave the patient unattended. The anesthesiologist is there throughout the whole case. The patient is attended from start to finish. And that's just one of the basic things of any surgery that we do in the office. So I think this was a case of negligence, but even in the best of hands, unexpected bad things can happen. We try to minimize that.
You know, another thing, Steve, you would have hoped in our OR, if a patient wasn't getting oxygen, something is going on, they're having an arrhythmia, alarms are going off. Yeah, so you kind of wonder where the surgeon was in this, or the circulating nurse, you know, where were they and how did they not notice? And I don't know about you guys, but I frequently look up at the monitors just kind of routinely, just as an extra set of eyes on things.
And this background noise, that beep, beep, beep. Something that you're just used to hearing, and when things don't go beep, 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 you got a problem.
That's right.
You know, the thing is, we do a lot of cases now, besides our general anesthesia big cases, a lot of local anesthesia cases. So a lot of times I'll inject the patient or put tumescent fluid in for lipo, and then go back to my office. And my office is right across from the OR, but there's someone sitting with that patient in the operating room until I go in 5 feet away. No one is left unattended. And I think that's the key to this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had one question like this come up in our office, and I think the bottom line is that, sometimes patients hear stories and it gets referenced or tied to plastic surgery, and plastic surgery wasn't the danger here. It was the lack of monitoring and anesthesia and the lack of, the checklist and attention to detail. And so, it's the process of taking care of any patient that needs surgery, period. End of story. So, the headline of plastic surgery leads to this complication is really misleading. And that's why we tell patients, look for a board certified plastic surgeon in an accredited center. And those are the things that we hold ourselves accountable towards with our societies. And those are the standards. Those are built-in safeguards for our patients. And so breast augmentation by itself doesn't have a potential to cause brain damage. And that's actually a question that came up in our office, and that's the key here. It's seeing a board certified plastic surgeon in an accredited facility with attention to detail. And that's, I think, we don't have all the details from the news story, but just connecting the dots, I think that's clear to all of us that was the issue. And it's really sad to see that and hear that. But, for patients, it's important for them to know as plastic surgeons, that's unacceptable for us. And we don't accept that as a risk. That is an unacceptable thing. And I think that's the reason it's such a good thing to talk about and put out there and highlight that patients should know they're safe. They should know their provider, and they should know their facility.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for No Spin Live today, January 2020. For more content like this about plastic surgery from the experts, visit theplasticsurgerychannel.com.